Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to another interesting session of General Science, where we will be continuing with the same chapter, that is plant reproduction, pollination. So let us recap or revise what we have learned in our previous session. So in your previous session, I have already explained you what is reproduction, that is giving birth to new ones or producing new ones, that is reproduction. Then we had learned two types of reproduction in plants, that is sexual reproduction, which takes place with the help of the seeds, and asexual reproduction in plants, which takes place with the help of stems, leaves or other parts of the plant. Also in your previous session, I had explained you the different parts of a flower. Now today, I'll explain you the functions of each of these parts, And as promised in our previous session, I will show you the structure of the flower through a natural flower. I tried to get hibiscus, but I couldn't get. So I will show you the parts of a rose plant. Alright, so first of all, let us do the reading of the portion that we are going to cover in today's session. Sepals. The green leaf-like parts in the outermost circle of a flower are called sepals. The sepals protect the flower when it is in the form of a bud. The sepals together make up the calyx part of the flower. Petals. Inside the sepals are the petals of a flower. Petals are the most attractive part of a flower. Petals of the flowers can be of different colors, shapes and sizes. The petals can be red, blue, green, orange, pink, white or any other color. Petals of some of the flowers have natural scents in them, due to which they smell very nice. Petals also attract insects. The petals together make up the corolla of the flower. Stamen. Just inside the petals of a flower, there are many little stalks with swollen tops. These stalks are called stamens. The stamen is the male part of a flower. The stamen is actually made up of two parts, a filament and an anther. The stalk of stamen is called filament and the swollen top of stamen is called anther. The anther contains a yellow powder-like substance called pollen or pollen grains. If we cut the anther of a flower horizontally with a blade, we can see the pollen grains in it. The pollen grains contain male sex cells, male gametes of a plant. There are many stamens in a flower. The stamens together make up the androecium of the flower. Pistil. In the center of a flower, there is a flask-shaped organ called pistil or carpel. The pistil is the female part of a flower. A pistil is made up of three parts. Stigma. The top part of a pistil is called stigma. Stigma is very sticky so that pollens can stick to it. Style. The middle part of a pistil is called style. It is a tube which connects stigma to ovary. Ovary. The swollen part at the bottom of the pistil is called ovary. The ovary contains tiny egg-like structures called ovules. If we cut the ovary of a flower vertically with a blade and observe with a magnifying lens, we will see tiny egg-like structures inside the ovary. These tiny egg-like structures are ovules. The ovary may contain one or several ovules. The ovules contain female sex cells, female gametes of a plant. The pistils together make up the gynoecium of the flower. Unisexual and bisexual flowers. We have just learned that stamen is the male reproductive organ of a plant, whereas pistil is the female reproductive organ of the plant. Now, male and female reproductive organs of a plant may be present in the same flower or in different flowers. Depending on this, a flower may be unisexual or bisexual. The flowers which contain only one reproductive organ, either male or female, are called unisexual flowers. This means that the unisexual flowers contain either stamen or pistil. Flowers having stamen are called the male flowers. Flowers having pistil are called the female flowers. Both male and female flowers may be present in the same plant or in different plants. The plants such as papaya, watermelon, corn, and cucumber have unisexual flowers. The flowers which contain both the reproductive organs, male as well as female, are called bisexual flowers. This means that both stamen and pistil are present in the same flower. The plants such as rose, mustard, hibiscus, and petunia have bisexual flowers. A new seed of the plant is formed when the male gamete present in a pollen grain unites with the female gamete present in the ovule.
Gave you the reading of the portion, parts of the flower. Now let us learn about each of the parts in detail. Okay, so the first whorl of the flower that opens up, I had explained to you, that is the first whorl of the flower is called as the sepals. Okay, sepals is the first whorl of the flower. And what is the function of the sepals? So first of all, let us learn how is the structure of the sepals. So see, the sepals have a leaf-like structure. Okay, sepals have leaf-like structure. That is the first point or the first feature of the sepals. Alright, previous session I have shown you the picture of the sepals, that is they are in the form of a leaf and they are attached to the bottom part of the flower. Okay, so the structure is just like a leaf. Alright, now what is the function of the sepals? See, the sepals, have you ever seen a flower in the bud stage? Bud stage? Yes, the flower in the bud stage is completely covered with the green leaves, isn't it? So that green part is actually the sepals. And why the flower is covered in the bud stage? Because the sepals protect the flower in the bud stage. Okay, see, the sepals, their structure is just like a leaf. Okay, they have a leaf-like structure, and in the bud stage, the flower is completely covered with the sepals. Okay, and these sepals, they function to protect the flower in the bud stage. Okay, the flower is very delicate in the bud stage, so they are well protected by the sepals. Clear? Now, sepals together are termed as calyx. As I already told you in your previous session, that calyx is the other name for the sepals. Alright, so these are the three features for sepals. Let us revise it once again, students. Sepals have leaf-like structure. Alright, their structure is like a leaf. Then their function is to protect the flower in the bud stage. And the other name for sepals is calyx. Okay, alright. Now let us move towards the next. Now we will learn the second part. Okay, so the second part of the flower is the petals. Okay, petals are the second whorl of the flower. Okay, now first of all, let us talk what is the color or what is the size. So see students, petals have different shapes, different colors and different sizes in different flowers. Okay, their feature, their structure differs from flower to flower. If you go to a rose flower only, you can see so many colors and so many beautiful colors and so many sizes in a rose flower. Alright, so if we talk about the structure, we say that petals are of different shapes. Petals are of different shapes, size and color. Okay, your petals are of different shapes, size and color. Alright, so next question arises, what is the function of the petals? So see, the function of the petals is they are attracting the insects for pollination. Pollination, what it is, we will learn in our next session. Before that, we need to learn that petals are attracting the insects. Okay, the chief function of the petals is attract the insects. And how they attract? See, insects will be attracted to the flower if it is bright in color, beautiful in color. Okay, so they attract the insects by having bright colors. Okay, so they have bright colors. They are of bright color. Plus, and they produce a sweet liquid called nectar. So nectar is the sweet juice of the flower. Okay, the nectar is the sweet juice or the sweet liquid produced by a flower. And the insects are attracted towards the flower to drink this sweet nectar. Is it clear to you all? So, what we had learned about petals? That petals are of different shapes, size and color. Next is, they attract the insects by having very bright colors and also they produce a sweet, juicy nectar. Clear? So, this was the function for petals. Now, we will learn about the third word, that is your stamen. What we will be learning about is stamen. Now, certain things to notice about stamen is, first of all, let us discuss the structure of a stamen. So, see, a stamen has a thin stalk-like structure, okay, a thin stalk-like structure, and on the top it has a broad, flat portion, okay. A stamen has a thin stalk-like structure, okay, and the top portion, if you see, it is broader like this. Okay, it is broader like this. Clear? And this thin stalk of the stamen, that is called as filament. What it is called? Filament. Okay, and the top broad portion of the stamen that you see is called as the anther. Okay, this top portion is called as the anther. Now, inside this anther, what is actually contained is very tiny yellow powder-like substance. Okay, and this is called as the pollen grains. Okay, this is called as pollen grains or simply pollen. Alright, have you ever seen if you touch a flower, okay, on the top portion, and if you just rub it, that yellow portion, if you rub it in your hand, you get a powdery substance, isn't it? So that powdery substance which you are getting is actually the pollen. Okay, and this is the pollen which is the male gamete of the flower. Okay, the male gamete. Okay, male gamete, or we also say that the male cell of the flower. Okay, so the chief function of the stamen is to produce male cells. Okay, it is the male part of the flower and chief function of the stamen is to produce male cells. Clear? Once again, let us look at the structure of the stamen. See, the stamen has a thin stalk-like structure and that is called as the filament. This filament of the stamen connects the stamen to the flower. Okay, Then on the top you have a broad structure, and if you cut it vertically, means if you try to dissect it and cut it, you will get a structure like this. Okay, and inside that is called your anther, the top broad portion. Now inside this anther, what you have is your pollen grains. Clear? So this was the structure. Now what is the function? The stamen is producing the male cells. Clear? The function of the stamen is to produce male cells. Now, as calyx, sepals have the name calyx, and petals together, they are called as corolla. So, stamen, many stamens together, the group of the stamens in a flower, they are together termed as androecium. Clear, students? So these are the 3 points of the stamen. Okay, that is, this is the structure. The function is to produce the male cells, and the other term for this is androecium. Okay, now let us learn move towards the innermost portion of the flower, that is your pistil. Okay. Okay, students. So while stamen is your male part of the flower, okay, which produces the male gamete, the pistil is the female part of the flower. Okay, pistil is the female part of the flower. Okay, and the function of the pistil is to produce female eggs. Okay, to produce female cells or female eggs. Clear? Now, first of all, let us see what is the structure of a pistil. So see, the pistil is the innermost part, and it has a structure like this. Alright? Now, the topmost portion, this is a slightly sticky portion. Okay? This is a slightly sticky portion, and this is the portion that will receive the male cells from the stamen. Okay? Stigma will receive the male cells from the stamen. It has a sticky consistency or sticky structure. Okay, so this portion is called as the stigma. Clear? Now, as you move down, you see a tubular structure like this. Okay, this tubular structure is called the style. Okay. The function of this style is to connect the stigma to the next portion of the pistil. Okay, it's just a tube-like structure, and it connects the stigma to your next portion, that is your ovary. Clear? Now, ovary is the part of the flower where the female eggs are produced. Okay, this is the part of the flower where the female eggs of the flower are produced. Okay, and these female eggs, they are called as this portion is called as the ovules, and inside these ovules you find the female cells or female gamete. Clear? So, this is the structure of your pistil. That is the top portion that you see, the sticky portion, that is called as the stigma. Okay? As you move down, you get a tube-like structure to see, and that is called your style. Further, as you move down, you get a swollen portion like this, and this is called your ovary. Inside the ovary is your ovules, and these ovules are producing the female gamete or the female cells. Clear? So, pistil altogether is termed as the gynoecium. The pistil is also termed as gynoecium. Clear? So, the function of the pistil is just to produce the female cells in the flower. Okay, now I'll give you once again a revision of all these parts. So let us move. The 4 whorls, the first whorl that opens up is your sepals. Okay, the first wall of the flower is your sepals, and the sepals have leaf-like structure. Okay, also what is the function of the sepals? The function of the sepal is to protect the flower. Okay, to protect the bud. To protect the flower in the bud stage. Okay, it protects the flower in bud stage. That is the function of the your sepals. That is the first word. Okay, and what is the other term for sepals? That is your calyx. Clear? Now, the second whorl that opens up, that is called your petals. That is your petals, or the other term for petals is corolla. Alright, the other term for petals is corolla. What is the function of the corolla or the petals? To produce nectar. Okay, they produce nectar, and while they produce nectar, they also attract the insects. Okay, they will produce nectar and attract insects. Clear, students? Now, the next portion or the next whorl of the flower is your stamen. What it is? Stamen. And the other term for stamen is androecium. Stamen is also your male part of the flower, and its main function is to produce male gamete or male cells. Alright, your stamen will produce the male cells, and it has two parts, that is your filament, the thin stalk-like structure, and the top broader portion is your, what is that called? That is called your anther. Okay, your anther will produce the pollen. Okay, it produces the male cells, or the other term you can say is it produces pollen. Okay, it produces pollen. Now, the last whorl of the flower that opens up is your pistil. Okay, and the other term for pistil is gynoecium. The other term for pistil is gynoecium. And what is the main function of the pistil is to produce female cells. Okay, to produce female cells or female eggs. Okay, and these female eggs can also be called, cells can also be called as eggs. And that is produced inside the ovules. Clear? So this is the function of different parts of a flower. Clear, students? Now, today, the next portion that is coming up, that is, I'm going to show you the structure, all the structure, with the help of a real rose flower. Okay, so let us move towards that portion. Okay, students, here is a rose flower that I have. Okay, and I'll show you the parts of the flower through this. Okay, so see, here I have a dried part. So, this particular part, okay, this particular part that you see here, that is your receptacle. Okay, and the entire flower, all the whorls of the flower are borne on this receptacle. Okay, now see, as you move up, you see the leaf-like structure here. Okay, this leaf-like structure is actually called the sepals. So what happens when the flower is in the bud stage? Okay, when the flower is in the bud stage, these sepals are closed like this. Okay, the sepals are closed and they protect the flower in the bud stage. So this leaf-like structure that you see, that is the sepals. Okay, now students, this is a fully grown rose. Okay, and I'll separate each of the parts of it and show you the complete structure. Okay, so as I told you, here is your receptacle. Okay, that is holding the entire part.
Okay, and these are your sepals. Okay, the green leaf-like structures that you see, these are your sepals, and they will protect the flower in the bud stage. Okay, now see, the petals are already separating and they are in my hands. So these brightly colored petals that you see, okay, these are the petals of the flower. Okay, and just now I explained you the function of the petals. What is the function? That is, it attracts the insects for the nectar. Okay, it is brightly colored and it will attract the insects towards them. Okay, so I have separated all the petals over here. Now see, once you have separated the petals, you will enter into the third whorl of the flower. Okay, the third whorl. So see, these stalks that you see, okay, they are the stamen. Okay, that is, each of the part is your stamen. All right, each of this part is your stamen. You see, they have a, I'll separate one of the parts. So see, this is the stamen. Okay, the stamens I will separate and you will see. See, this is one of the stamen that I have separated in my hand. All right. And each of the stamen will look like this. Okay, each of the stamen will look like this. See, they have a thin stalk-like structure. Okay, and on the top you see a broadened structure. Okay, and this flat broad structure that you see, that is your storing the male gamete of the flower. Okay, that is, the pollens are stored in this. The male gamete of the flower are stored up in the flat portion. Okay, so this is the third whorl. And you see there are many stamens grown on this flower. Okay, and each of the stamens are together termed as androecium. Okay, now I'll try to separate each of the stamen. So once I have removed all the stamen from the flower, what you get to see is the innermost whorl of the flower. That is the fourth whorl you get to see over here. Okay, see, this is the fourth whorl and this is slightly sticky in nature. That is your pistil. Okay, so see, there are many pistils over here. Okay, and there are many pistils over here, and the top portion is the sticky part of the pistil. That is your stigma. Okay, the stigma, that is from the pollen from the androecium will fall on this sticky portion. That is your stigma. All right, now see, this is the sticky portion, stigma, and as you move below, you see a white structure. Okay, as you move below, you see a white structure, and this white structure is this white structure that you see over here. Okay, that is called your style. Okay, the top portion is your stigma and the bottom portion that you see over here is your style. Okay, now I will dissect this flower, and you will get to see the innermost part, that is your ovary, where the ovules or the female egg cells are well protected. Okay. Okay, so see students, I am dissecting it with the help of a knife. You don't use it. Okay, see, once I have dissected it, okay, and once I open it, you will see the innermost part of the flower. Okay, the innermost part of the flower, that is the ovary. All right, this is your ovary, and many small egg cells you can find in this part. Okay, all very small white portions you can see. Okay, very small egg cells, that is a female egg cells, are stored up in this part. Okay, this is your ovary. Okay, and your ovary will contain all the female egg cells. Is it clear? Okay students, so this was the dissection of a rose flower. So students, I have shown you the different parts of the flower with the help of the rose flower. Okay, so if you get hibiscus flower, you can also try to dissect each of the parts and see what is there in it. Okay, also if you have rose flower, you can closely see it at your homes also. Now, the next portion that we will be covering today is two types of the flowers, that is unisexual flower and bisexual flower.
Okay, so see, what is the meaning of both of these? Unisexual flower, okay, and the other is bisexual flower. See students, uni is one, okay, and bi means two. So the flowers in which only either the male part, that is either stamen, what is the male part of the flower? Stamen, okay, or the female part, that is pistil. Either male part or the female part of the flower is there. That is called as unisexual flower. Very easy, okay. Unisexual means either it will have, it contains either male or female part. Alright, so unisexual flower means it will either have male part or the female part. Means if it will have either the stamen or it will have only the pistil. Clear? Examples are papaya. Okay, papaya is a flower which will have only, it will have either male part, that is either it will have stamen or it will have pistil in it. Okay, now bisexual, as I told you, two. Bi means two. That means this flower will contain both the parts. Both parts on same flower. Okay, that is on the same flower, you will find both the male and the female part. Just now I have shown you the structure of the rose flower. So the rose flower had the stamen as well as it had pistil. Okay, so bisexual means it will contain both the parts of the flower on the same flower. That is both stamen as well as the pistil. That is a bisexual flower. Just now I have shown you rose. Okay, so that is an example of bisexual. Monosexual or unisexual means it will contain either the male part or the female part on the flower. Okay, means either stamen or pistil will be present on the flower. Is it clear? So this is unisexual and bisexual flower. So students, today I have taught you this much portion, and tomorrow we will continue with the same chapter, but the most important topic of this chapter, that is pollination. So we will cover pollination, what is pollination and how pollination is carried out in a flower. Alright, so revise this portion. Also students, I am giving you the reading of the chapter. So please do the reading at home also, because there are certain terms in the book that you must be seeing for the first time. So do the reading and learn all the things properly at home. Okay, so this is all for today. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.